little bit about Betty, the very delightful HBO series. I don't know. It's not a mini series, I guess, because it's you know second
No.
season, but it's
Not yet renewed for
also
season 3, we hope.
a mini season, I guess. Only 6 episodes. It's
Yep.
kind of funny how quickly, we do the first we review the first episode. I might fall a couple behind. Then before I know, I'm like, oh crap, the season's half over. I have to catch up. Um, and that's exactly what I did. And I thought the second season, while not quite meeting the highs of the first season for me, I thought the second season was still pretty sharp and really interesting to see all the different directions that the girls were going in. However, I do think that's part of the reason why it didn't reach the highs for me is that the scenes I like the most, and we say this a lot with shows with this many characters, are when they're all interacting together. You didn't get as much of that this season. But season two of Betty, Dave, are you up on it, down on it? Where are you at?
Yeah, still liked it. You have to figure that we got less ensemble scenes because of COVID. Obviously, this was
Yeah.
a shot on location in New York City. This is not a show with sets. Um,
Mhm.
Very strenuous shoot, according to the showrunner, Chris Moselle, by all accounts. So that explains a lot. You have to
Yeah.
figure, right? It's basically our main crew all doing their own disparate storylines for the most part. Obviously, there's other characters with them, but they're not as connected as much. And I have to imagine that's really just due to planning the production more than anything else. But I still think they did a lot of. I think there was a lot of interesting plots, and I was quite satisfied once again with the season. It's not as I think revelatory as season one because season one was just a really smart continuation of the original movie Skate Kitchen. So obviously the second season's not gonna pop the same way, but it continues in the same way, and also will probably feel like an interesting time capsule due to being a show that is acknowledging COVID's existence versus pretending it doesn't exist. Like everyone's wearing masks and there's little COVID plot points in the finale, right? So it's
Mhm.
a little different than a lot of other dramas.
Yeah, and I liked that. I think we mentioned this in the episode one review. Um, I liked that it was just kind of an aspect of the world that was accepted and not really like harped upon. Like season starts, COVID's already full swing. The effects of it are already being seen. We see Indigo quit a job because shopper won't wear a mask and things like that. So just kind of part of the world. And I didn't feel like it like derailed the season or really was even a major plot point until the very end, like you mentioned. Um, but you said that there was a lot of different storylines and character arcs. Which ones were you most interested in this season? Which ones worked best?
So in general, I thought it was nice that romances, whether they're going positively, negatively, they're barely going at all, they're going full steam. I like that everyone basically had something along those
Mhm,
lines, romance wise. I think that was cool in terms of enriching these characters
mhm,
into our second season. Um, in terms of those romances, I think the stuff with Janae is probably my favorite out of that, but I did like all of it. I also really liked the stuff with Camille once again because she's
mhm.
probably the most connected to the skating culture themes of the show and from the movie, and in terms of shining a light on sexism in like skate media and social
Mhm.
media and influencing and all that stuff. Again, things always done really tactfully and genuinely, and I really liked how where that arc went.
Yeah, I actually found the stuff with Honey Bear this season and her relationship and the openness of the relationship with
Right.
like the third party. I found it to be very hit or miss and actually a bit grating. And I think that was just the aspect of the lack of communication between them. I felt a little bit the same about Kurt with uh, their relationship with Micah's girlfriend, or
Right. Yeah.
you know. Although I do have to say, it did set up for a very like devastating end for Kurt, which I thought really paid off well. Um, the stuff with Indigo, being homeless, becoming a sugar baby, and
hmm
pulling Camille into that world briefly. How did you feel about the way that was portrayed in that plot?
Uh, it's just I always like seeing that portrayed in just mainstream culture, just because like as an acknowledgement. Obviously, we saw this recently with Shiva Baby, the independent film.
Mhm.
Um, I thought it was cool. Like the homelessness aspect is kind of like doesn't hit as much for me because Indigo is like a rich girl, right? She's got kicked
Mhm.
out of the house by her mom. Like it's not quite the same to me, you
Right.
know. But I thought they did a really good job with all the seeking arrangements, sugar baby stuff, because like there's an inherent tension and danger to that stuff, and doesn't fully manifest for a few episodes. So I thought that was
Mhm.
handled well.
Yeah, I thought that was handled well too, and it just kind of had this impending sense of doom around it. Like you knew something was going to go wrong or go bad with it. And I thought the way that it paid off with, that one guy showing up to the party at the end,
Mm.
and the issue she has with the other guy before, who, is trying to perform sexual acts on her, to pay her for that, was, I thought, really interesting. Going back to Kurt real quick, I thought her like harem of guys that she was like trying to educate on how to treat women was a really funny like running
Oh yeah.
aspect of the season, and I loved seeing that. And the way that the guys responded to her was so funny.
Hmm.
Talking about
Oh,
the male G spot, hilarious.
oh yeah. No, that was great. That was great.
Mhm.
Um, Culminating with all them dressing up as her for at the Halloween party. Awesome.
Yep.
And that's the best stuff about Kurt. Like Kurt's like own personal journey with Micah's girlfriend kind of like meandered a little bit, right? Not quite as
Right.
interesting. And like the Kurt character is really aloof and vibey, right? And
Hmm.
I think when the plot is not as focused for that character, it's not as cool. But like having all the it's a nice way to bring all those secondary characters in the ensemble, all these male skaters, into a interesting way. And again, kind of bringing like the gender relations themes of the show back into the front. And yeah, I agree with you about the honey bear stuff. I found honey bear's stuff in season one really really dull. So this was definitely a step up from that, but still,
Mm.
I think just the fact that she's like a reserved character kind of gets in the way of her plots. Like she just
Yeah.
can't help herself sometimes.
Yeah. I agree with that, and I think Janae's relationship, will they, won't they? But more so, Janae becoming the like activist leader,
Mm.
trying to like get everything, I thought was really interesting. And then obviously Camille has like the same storyline, trying to become a serious skater, wanting to be taken seriously, not always being taken seriously by the people around her, and the label influence. Some of that hit, some of it didn't, but I think definitely with some nice payoff near the end. So Betty, I think, continues to just be a really delightful show to tune into for 30 minutes a week, and enjoy when it's on. So if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend tuning in. Dave, any last thoughts on Betty before we move on?
I mean, 2 seasons in, it's only a 6-hour commitment, so catch the F up.